We are live. Good evening, everybody. How's everyone doing on this beautiful, gorgeous Sunday?
Yeah, how's everyone doing out there? So everybody's here. We have Facebook Live going, and we also have our TikTok folks on the other screen here. So if you see me looking up here, that's just because I'm fielding the TikTok questions. All right.
Yes, and we missed you guys last week, and we're here. We're gonna see what the questions are like. We're gonna try to cut out early because John's mom is visiting from Ohio. We had a lot of graduation festivities for our oldest daughter. She graduated last week, and then festivities for her and her friends all week. So it's been quite crazy and hectic.
Absolutely.
And we don't even have an inspirational immigration story.
No, we don't
today because it's been just crazy. But we will have an amazing one next week. All right.
Absolutely.
Yes, we're working on it
but
now.
For those of you who are here, let's hit it. My name is John Gardner. This is my wife and law partner, Radla Mendoza, and we are the law firm Gardner and Mendoza. And we come to you every week on Sunday night at 8 o'clock to give you immigration updates, other legal updates if we think that they're important for the community to know about. And most importantly, we like to answer your questions. So if you have a question, make sure that you put it in the comments and we will answer it. All right. However, I do have to warn you that what we do here is for educational and informational purposes only. It is technically not legal advice. Okay. So we already had a couple questions that came in even before we started. And so we could probably hit those first if we're ready to do that.
Absolutely. We've got a couple of questions that came in, and what if you guys better chances of getting your question answered, guys, on TikTok if you come to our Facebook page.
Right.
Follow our Facebook page so you get the update. Sometimes we don't go live on Sundays. Like last week we didn't because it was Father's Day. Hope every dad out there and family member had a good Father's Day. But ask the question in the Facebook comments, and you will have a better chance of getting that question answered.
Yeah, if you bring it on TikTok, we will try to get to it. It's just that it's easier for us to field it when it comes through Facebook.
Right.
All right, because we can put it up there. Okay, so one of the questions that I had before we even got started tonight involved the driver privilege card. For those of you who are not familiar with the driver privilege card, this was a new law that went into effect, and it's in effect now. And essentially, you can get a driving privilege card. It's just like a driver's license in Virginia, regardless of what's going on with your immigration status. So no matter what your immigration status is, you can get a driving privilege card if you can show that you had income in Virginia in the last year and that you reported it on a tax return, that you have proof of insurance, and of course you'll have to pass the written test and the road test. The question that I had is, do you have to have a clean driving record? Because some folks who are applying for this driving privilege card obviously have been doing some driving already, even though they didn't have the driving privilege card yet, and maybe got a speeding ticket or even got a ticket for driving without a license, which is a Class 2 misdemeanor. So the question is, can I apply for the driving privilege card even if I've gotten some tickets before I ever had a license? The answer is yes. Okay, so if that's your situation, you have a couple speeding tickets or maybe a couple of no OL convictions or charges, whatever, that is not going to be a bar to your getting a driving privilege card. Okay, unless perhaps you're under some sort of suspension from the court or the DMV because of those convictions. But assuming you're not under any suspension from the court or from the DMV, then yes, you can absolutely go forward. Don't let that hold you back. Okay. So
all right, fantastic.
That's my update on that, answer.
Thanks for that. Before we answer the questions, I just, again, want to thank everybody for joining us and supporting our live stream here on Facebook. Some of you guys are on YouTube and Twitter. And of course, we have TikTok as well. So thank you guys for coming on, asking the questions, supporting us. And it makes it more fun when you ask questions. So
we've got questions coming in already. Why don't you answer
we've got a question here. Yeah. So you what was the question?
Well, the question we had before was whether you can petition for your sister.
Yes.
All right.
So the question was from my Canadian cousin Roy, and I don't know if he's on Facebook Live right now. I can't tell, but he asked whether he's a U.S. citizen. He asked whether he could petition for his sister, who is not a U.S. citizen, and the answer is yes. You can petition for a sibling if you are a U.S. citizen. If you're a lawful permanent resident, you cannot petition for a sibling. Now, another thing I want to mention about this is that when you petition for your sibling, it does take a long time for the visa to become available. So get in that line, file that petition. I know that we've talked about this a lot in the past about, gosh, it's taking so long. I mean, 15 years, 19 years for the Philippines, 22 for Mexico, 15 for every other country. But guys, just file that petition if you don't think there's any other way for your sibling to immigrate to the United States. Got to file that petition. Hold tight, sit tight. We're all going to be here 20 years from now. John and I are celebrating our 20th. No, it's actually our 21st anniversary of our law firm. So we've had our law firm for 21 years and our 23rd wedding anniversary in October. So my point of bringing that up is, is to just show everyone, and we all know this, that time does still happen, whether you file that petition or not. Best to file that petition and have it there. So a lot of people, what they do is just like, I'm not going to file that petition. No way. I'm giving up on that. That's too long. And then realize 10, 15 years later, like, gosh, I should have filed that petition. Let me go ahead and file it now.
Yes.
And that's
the time will pass. So go ahead and get it filed. Okay. All right, let's see. Did you want to take another question there? Oh, and look, our dear old friend Mel is complimenting our art. Mel, how are you?
Hey, buddy, what's going on? I think Mel's in Australia right now.
Yes, that's
lots of love to you, Mel. We miss you, buddy. We miss you seeing you on Facebook and everywhere else.
Mel's our dear old friend from law school and many, many years ago. Groomsmen in our wedding. That's right.
We haven't seen each other in a really long time. So it's
great. He placed the veil. For those of you who know about the Filipino wedding tradition, he placed our veil.
Did he take the veil off too? Yeah, I do remember. I think he poked me with that needle when he was. Just kidding. Okay. All right, we have a question here.
All right, we got a bunch from
Maribel. Right. Now. So guys on TikTok, if you want that question up on the screen, go ahead and slide on over to Facebook Live. We are at Gardner Mendoza Law on Facebook, but we're going to try to get to your question. I'm going to answer this question here.
All right.
Maribel says, are we able to request for bakers from the Philippines at this time? She has a Filipino specialty bake shop. So yes, everybody knows, I think everyone in the whole world knows that there are serious backlogs at the U.S. embassies all over the world. But that should not stop you, again, from doing the things that you want to do, because in Maribel's case, here we're going to have to do a labor certificate, go through the labor certification perm process. That takes a long time. And then file the I-140 after that gets certified by the Department of Labor. And then if a visa is available at the time, do the consular processing. So, we're really looking at a year or so down the road for when this case would go to the U.S. Embassy in Manila. If the beneficiary is here in the United States, maybe the beneficiary is here on some sort of a different type of non-immigrant visa, which allows them to stay here, like a student visa, then yes, you can start that process. So if you would like more information about that process, feel free to reach out to our office. You guys can call us at 757-464-9224. It's also on the Facebook page. It's also on the TikTok. But let us know if you need help with that. We can absolutely give you some more information.
Right. That's interesting. She has London Bridge as her
picture.
What do you call that? There's a name for that.
It's here's her cover. Her profile picture. Yes. Okay. All right. Stumped. Here, we've got this question here.
All right.
Do you want to read this here? Let's see here.
All right. Is it advisable for a tourist visa holder to visit first, then on a second time visiting that's the time for him to marry a green card holder while waiting for his partner to get his F2B petition approved, then file an adjustment of status. That's
Thons, great question. Great question. I'm going to say it's not advisable to do that. It's not advisable to do that. If a person is here on a tourist visa, okay, and one of the things that happens while they're here on the tourist visa is maybe they get a proposal for marriage, and they say yes, and they come to see me and they say, "Hey, Radlin, I just got surprised. He proposed to me. He's a lawful permanent resident. Is there any way that I can stay in the United States and do this process without having to go back to my country? Let's just say it's Philippines." The answer is yes. We can do that for you. We can help you with that process. But if you come into the United States on a tourist visa, okay, and here, and then you leave again, right? And then you come back in, but your intent is to marry your lawful permanent resident fiance or whatever you want to call it, then you have immigrant intent. Okay. And that's a problem maybe a problem for you, because the petitioner is a lawful permanent resident. It's a little less of a problem if you're marrying a US citizen. But here you're marrying a lawful permanent resident. That can be an issue with immigrant intent. So if the person is here, right now, the F2B category is current. It's current for July as well. And so if you're here and you got proposed to and you're like, wow, this is amazing, I wonder if there's anything that we could do. You come see me as an immigration attorney, like, yeah, let's do adjustment of status. We can do that because you did not have that intent. But that second time around, clearly in that question is the intent is to get married, and I don't advise that.
Yep.
All right.
It's just like criminal law. Intent matters a lot.
Intent matters.
Okay.
Right. It's not a crime, but
yeah, don't misunderstand. Just there are many criminal statutes where intent makes a big difference.
Right. But a really fantastic question. And again,
Yes.
There is a difference if that petitioner is a lawful permanent resident and a US citizen. When people are calling me right now and they say, "Oh yeah, we're thinking about getting married. My fiance just happens to be here on the tourist visa. Like, you might want to think about doing it now." And we do a rush job in filing that green card application while F2B category is still current. All right. What do we have here? Okay. Yeah, you're welcome, Thons. Hopefully that has helped. Let us know if that helped. Here we are looking at the questions that are being posed in the comments of our Facebook Live first. Let's see what we have here.
And we have a lot of questions on TikTok. And again, we will take Facebook questions first, only because that's the main platform that we're operating on for this particular presentation.
All right.
And also we can put them on the screen.
Put them on the screen. All right, let's see here. What do we have?
All right. Can I petition my 11-year-old stepson, even though me and him are not related? I am a U.S. citizen. My wife is a lawful permanent resident.
I love this question. So, stepchildren are treated exactly the same as biological children if the parent-child relationship was formed prior to that child turning 18. What that means is if you and your spouse got married prior to your stepchildren turning 18, yes, you can petition for your stepson. You can petition him as an immediate relative of a U.S. citizen and process the case that way. Of course, those are much favorable categories with regard to processing times, both at service centers and with visa availability. Great question, Edsel. Thanks for asking that. Let us know if you need help with that. All right. So a lot of questions here in our comments. Yeah. Thank you so much. All right, let's see.
Maybe we should switch over to TikTok just for one
second. Don't let that fall, guys. You know what? Right before we came on, the computer fell off of this box. I mean, we don't have a very, if you guys could see our setup, I think you would laugh. We have it on a box and an old immigration book, and the computer just toppled off. I'm happy that it works. And
before we started.
And then the phone fell off too.
It did. It was a little hectic here right at the last minute.
Right. Like Saturday Night Live, where we don't start at 8:00. We don't start because we're ready. We start because it's 8:00.
That's right. So Quarter Music wants to know, if my dad petitions my married sister in the Philippines, how long will it take to get approved?
So approval is different from how long will a visa become available. So that petition, I haven't checked recent processing times for that, but that petition can take 1 to 2 years before the USCIS approves the I-130 petition filed by the U.S. citizen parent. The other question should be, how long will it take for a visa to become available and for my sister to be able to actually immigrate to the United States? And again, I'm sorry to say that takes a very long time. It's 19 years for the Philippines. Just file it and wait and
move on and do everything else you're doing in your life that you're going to be doing anyway.
Right.
And have this simmering in the background, and then the time will come up and your number will come up and you'll be glad that you filed it.
Right. Absolutely. Your dad will be happy that he filed it. It reminds me of like that old rotisserie chicken thing. The
set it and forget it.
Set it and forget it. I'm like, it's kind of it is the same concept, like set it and forget it. Now this is, going to take longer than an hour and a half. We've owned many rotisserie chicken things. Ronco rotisserie chickens. Who else has had the rotisserie chicken? They're so awesome.
Okay, right. Before you jump back, the real quick one here, if you happen to know, if I live in Phoenix, Arizona, where can I mail? Oh, I just went away. My I-129F when completed, if you know.
When you complete your I-129F, there are only 2 service centers. You should look on the I-129F instructions and down on the USCIS.gov, and then find your state, and it will instruct you where to send it. I'm trying to remember. Or it will tell you which service centers to send it to, depending on your state. So check out the I-129F instructions, and there it will show you where to file, but there are only 2 choices.
All right.
I've got another question here. Let's see here. What happens to a pending I-131 after adjustment of status is approved? The I-131, which is advanced parole, you can no longer use that. So it's kind of the I-131 is for permission for you to travel back into the United States after temporary travel, and you get your green card with the adjustment of status and just use your green card to come in. So just throw it away.
Okay. And how about, can my husband stay in the U.S. if I just filed an I-130 and his OPT permit is about to get canceled in July?
So I don't know if the person asking this question is... Well, it doesn't matter if you're a U.S. citizen or a lawful permanent resident. Right now, if you're married, then you can file the adjustment of status application. I'm trying to think of reasons why this person would not have filed the I-130 along with the green card application, the I-45 and the affidavit of support and the I-131 and 765. And I believe maybe the reason is that you just didn't know. So go ahead and file. Well, I'm not going to give you specific legal advice, but generally speaking, if a person is here in the United States and they marry either a lawful permanent resident or a U.S. citizen, lawful permanent resident right now, because it is current right now, we're trying to file cases ASAP for the spouses of lawful permanent residents. You can file the I-485, the green card application, along with the other supporting documents and forms. So your spouse does not have to leave the United States. So you need some legal advice from a professional so you can get that going. And so there's no lapse, especially if you're a lawful permanent resident. So please give us a call if you need help with that. 757-464-9224. You can text my office. You can call our office. Either way you want to
Right.
do that. If you want to have your own local attorney, if you're not in our jurisdiction, although we can represent people in all 50 states, please go and talk to an immigration attorney and don't try to do this on your own. That
Right.
question scares me a little bit.
You don't have, your immigration lawyer does not have to be in the city or state where you live. We have clients all over the country, all over the world. If you're more comfortable with somebody that's right down the street, then, fair enough. That's up to you. But that is absolutely not necessary. And Edsel, by the way, before we get another immigration question, wanted to know if the video will be available after we're done. And the answer is yes. If you go to our Facebook page, go for Gardner and Mendoza, all of our Facebook lives are there. You can scroll back. You can watch every one of them if you want, for going back over a year.
if you want to do that to yourself.
Yeah, but absolutely. So if you're hearing information that is good, is important, and you're thinking, and you're trying to write it down really quickly, don't sweat it. Just relax, listen, and you can go back and replay it as many times as you want.
Yeah, take notes unless you're one of those people that don't go back and watch. But I got a question here. Goes back to sibling. Robin says, is there any way to speed up a sibling petition? What are the chances of getting it expedited granted? No, and not very good. Unfortunately, you cannot speed up a sibling petition when a visa is available. The visa availability, a lot of people have asked me that over the years. I wish that we had the ability to use like lawyer superpowers in order to make a visa available faster. We wouldn't be doing Facebook Lives, right? We would just be like spending the money.
That's right.
We'd be rich. And I also say, I wish I had a crystal ball. The crystal ball for like immigration reform, whether that's going to happen. I think John's crystal ball. He has a crystal ball into immigration reform. Can we share your immigration reform crystal ball?
Yeah. Well, there's my crystal ball is that everything is just completely stalled right now. So
it's so disappointing.
Yeah, nothing. I'll keep you posted. I monitor it all the time, just because I'm kind of a nerd like that.
Yeah.
But I'll let you know when there's something exciting, or even if it's bad news, I'll let you know one way or the other. One of the questions that came here, and she was asking us to please try to get to it, but I'm going to have to tell Deng Malo that I think we need more information. She says, hi, my cousin's a J1 visa holder when she came to the US, and then she married a permanent resident.
Yeah.
And that was the end of it. And so I'm not sure what the question is. I'm assuming maybe she wants to know what her options are after that, but
yeah.
If you want to follow up with a more specific question about that, we'd be happy to try to get to it.
Yeah, I mean, assuming that cousin is not subject to the 212, the 2-year residency requirement that sometimes J1 visas have, and Filipinos, is it Philippines?
It doesn't say.
Okay, then yes, most likely they can do adjustment of status, but we would need more information. And again, guys, as John mentioned, this cannot be legal advice to you. This is just kind of a jumping off point, a starting point. This is our way of, giving out information for you to think, okay, well, that helped me. I can move on, just with tactical things. But if you're hearing this like, I'm not sure, feel free to, again, reach out to us. You can call or text our office. It's 757-464-9224. You can email us at info, like information, but info at gmlaw.net. That stands for Gardner Mendoza. You can send us a message. You can DM us through Messenger on Facebook, as well as DM us through TikTok DMs, direct message. For those of you who are not sure what that means, but Messenger through Facebook. If you're on Facebook, then you most likely have Messenger. You can send it that way. Our team is pretty responsive right now. I am personally handling our TikTok page, and it's getting quite overwhelming because
I keep looking away. That's exactly what I'm doing.
There are a lot of questions, but
we've got a lot of questions coming through here.
I'm looking here. Let's see. I'm looking on the Facebook questions. Thank you guys for the questions.
Absolutely.
It's fun to answer questions. While you're looking at that, I just wanted to mention an update. from USCIS, if you got a request from immigration for more information, and you got that request between March 1st of 2020 and September 30th of 2021, of course, that's in the future, you have an additional 60 days to answer that from the due date. Now, this is very, very important. The reason is because maybe you're having trouble getting the documents that they're requiring, and you need that additional time. And try not to freak out. You do have an additional 60 days to answer your request for evidence, your NOID, your notice of intent to deny, your NOIT, your notice of intent to terminate. If you get any of those things, again, I would highly recommend getting professional help in answering that question, answering the request for evidence. But I wanted to mention that if you receive the request for more information between those dates, March 1st, 2020, and in the future, September 30th, 2021, you are going to have an additional 60 days from the due date. And that information is not going to be written on the request. It's just something I guess you're just supposed to know by watching Facebook Live, the Gardner Meadows Facebook Live.
Yeah, and the follow-up question of the J1 was whether the cousin can work. So it was here on a J1, married, a permanent resident. Can she work?
She can work if she files for the I-130, the 485, the EAD, the work authorization card, gets it in the mail. Yes, she can work. So do our clients work while these processes are pending without permission? Yes, they do. And depending on, who she's marrying, if she's marrying a U.S. citizen, it just depends on, we can't advise that. We can't say, yes, go work without authorization. I'm always going to say, no, you're not allowed to legally or lawfully work in the United States without employment authorization. That said, people do it. There is a level of forgiveness at the interview, but I would have to know more facts about your case in order to let you know if that applies to your cousin. I just would never. I'm not ever going to tell my clients, yeah, go work without authorization. I'm not allowed to do that. All right. Let's see. Another reminder, guys, that TPS registration right now is open again for Haiti, Venezuela, and Burma. So if you are from one of those countries, please, make sure that you apply if that, if that's something that you're able to do and eligible for. What do we have?
Okay, so we have a question about if you are a U.S. citizen, you have family members in another country, can you do anything? Essentially, the question is to invite them to come visit the U.S.
Yeah, we get this question a lot. And there used to be an opportunity for the family member in the United States to write a letter of invitation, and your family member takes that letter of invitation as well as an affidavit of support and presents it. But they're just not accepting those anymore. I still tell people to go ahead and have the family member bring a letter of invitation in the event that they can show it to the officer. But there's not much that you can do other than assisting them, with completing the DS-160 online and just kind of helping them with that process if they're not familiar with how to do things online, number one. And then the other thing is to make sure your family member knows what they're going to be doing in the United States, right? Who are they coming to visit? What is their purpose of coming to the United States? How long are they going to stay? Just very, very specific about their trip. And to be a little bit assertive, at that interview with regard to making sure that the consular officer knows that they're going to the United States for a very short period of time for a very specific purpose. And it's tough though, guys. It's tough to get a tourist visa. And now, if you get an appointment, some of the appointments are a year out from when they apply. So I would apply now if you're eligible to do that online.
All right. Here's a question that we get pretty much every week. So I guess we'll go ahead and field it this week as well. It's a question about if I'm in love with somebody, they're in another country, we just got engaged, and I'm planning to get married here. What should I do? Should we get spouse here somehow, then get married and do an adjustment of status? Should I pursue some sort of a fiance visa while they're still in their country? What are the options here?
Right. I mean, if the intent is to get married, okay. And again, this goes back to what we were mentioning before and immigrant intent. So I get nervous about immigrant intent because there's an issue in a potential for the fiance in coming to the United States and making a misrepresentation as to the purpose of their trip. What are you coming to the United States for? Oh, I'm coming to visit my sister. Oh, okay. So where does she live? Was she, and just there's a potential to make a misrepresentation as the true purpose of your trip. I've seen it before where our clients, they're not our clients when this happens, they're our clients after this happens. Just a couple of times where they've come into the United States and they've lied about who they're coming to see. And, they get called on it, and then they actually call the boyfriend. This happened one time, and the boyfriend was like, oh yeah, my fiance. Whereas this, the applicant who's trying to come into the United States called herself a friend, right? So they sent her right back to Japan. I mean, they made her buy another ticket, and she was not able to enter the United States. It's a happy ending. We were able to get the fiance visa. She became a U.S. citizen. They have a child together. So happy ending, but I've seen it a couple of times where the person has to go back because they've made a misrepresentation. So that's what makes me nervous about that. We do.
Yeah, this is a warning. We get the question every week.
Yeah.
We give the answer every week. And of course, the warning every week as
right.
well.
Exactly. So best bet right now. And again, I would need to know all the facts of everything and just before I give any type of advice as to how to pursue this. But, I think that the fiance visa is probably the more appropriate visa, generally speaking, because I'm not going to give someone the advice of, come in on your tourist visa and then get married, because I can't. So, and Miss Evelina, hello. How are you?
Welcome. So here's an open-ended question. U.S. citizen daughter, and she wants to petition for her parents in their country. She doesn't say where they are.
Okay.
But it makes a difference timing-wise. But
right.
She wants to know, what do I do?
Yeah.
I'm a U.S. citizen. My parents are in X country. What do I do?
So you have to be at least 21 years old to petition for your parents as a U.S. citizen. The very first thing that you do is file I-130 petitions for each of your parents. That is the very first step. After that step, once the I-130 petitions are approved, move on to the National Visa Center stage. That's where you have to submit your affidavit of support along with your most recent tax return. Your parents' documentation, they have to upload a bunch of their documents, passport, biographic pages of passport. The final step of that is medical and interview. And then the interview, and of course, they are able to come after being granted the immigrant visa. So very first step, I-130, that can take, 8 months to a year and a half to approve, depending on where your service center is. So just please go ahead and file that I-130 petition. And then again, in the future, you have to be able to provide an affidavit of support for your parents and make a certain level of income. It's not, well, I'm not going to say it's all relative. I was going to say it's not super high, but it's all relative, right? All right. I have a question here. I need a little bit more information. Jennifer says, hello, my husband is military and left the country. Do I have to inform USCIS for the interview? Oh, I see. Gotcha.
Yeah, at first I was confused, but it makes more sense.
Got it. I think that what Jennifer is saying is her spouse is deployed, right? If that is correct, if it's wrong, just give us a thumbs down and maybe ask the question. But if your spouse is deployed and you have a adjustment of status marriage interview coming up, depending on where you are and even depending on the immigration officer. So in our local office, which is Norfolk, they say, hey, it depends on the officer. Each officer makes the determination whether they will interview you without your spouse. I would try it. I would go for it. I would try to go without your spouse. With your spouse's most recent order is that, he's been deployed, as well as a reaffirming statement that he still wants to pursue the I-130 petition. So I would absolutely 100% try to go to that interview without your spouse. The worst that they can say is no. Make sure you bring all of your bona fide marriage evidence to that interview so they can, try to approve it even without your spouse there. Good luck. If you have any questions about that, let us know. Yeah.
Great advice.
It's not advice though, not legal advice.
I mean, not legal advice. It's great life legal tip.
To be prepared.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
And to just take
your
shot, right? Like go for it.
Yeah. So how long does a self-petition take under VAWA? I'm going to my biometrics next week.
VAWA can take some time. I mean, I would say a couple of years. It can take a couple of years to get the VAWA case all the way through. So good luck with that. Try to be patient. I know that sounds like a lot of time, but it'll go by fast. But VAWA can take, I haven't looked at the most recent processing times, so I can't be exact about that. I'm just thinking about the VAWA cases that we have right now. And, they've taken a couple of years and we still don't have an adjustment of status interview. So,
right. Let's see here. Can you file for a spousal visa prior to the wedding, or do you have to wait until after the wedding? I mean, yeah, that's
well, let's say there are a couple of options here. You have the fiance visa, which you file before you get married, but you cannot get married until you enter the United States on that fiance visa. You have to wait 90 days. I'm sorry, you don't have to wait 90 days. You have 90 days to get married. And then there's the other one, the immigrant visa, the spouse, right? You've already married your spouse, and then you start that process with the I-130 petition. If you're not in the United States, that's the very first thing that you file. If you are in the United States, then you do the green card marriage adjustment. So there is another visa category that it is similar to the fiance visa, but it's for married couples. So maybe that's what you're talking about. It's the K3. I don't recommend the K3. You don't hear me talking about the K3 a lot just because I don't recommend it. It takes longer and it's not efficient like it's supposed to be. And it just adds an extra added step. And it's all right. I wouldn't recommend it.
Here's an issue that comes up from time to time. So why don't we go ahead and field this? I'm a permanent resident planning to get married here, but I'm still married in the Philippines. What's my option?
Okay, wait. Permanent resident is here?
Yeah.
Permanent resident is here.
Planning to get married, but still married in the Philippines.
Gotcha. So wherever you are, whatever state you're in, you need to file for a divorce and try to get that divorce done as soon as possible. It'd be great if your spouse would sign on that. If you don't know where your spouse is, then there's divorce by publication. I wouldn't really fool around with the annulment unless there is a legal reason as to why you would need an annulment. But annulments in the Philippines take a really long time. They're more expensive than immigration processes and what immigration lawyers charge, from what I've heard from my clients who go through the annulment process. But since you are in the United States, you can actually get a divorce, whereas in the Philippines, you cannot get a divorce. In the Philippines, you have to go through the annulment process. Hopefully they change that one day.
Right.
Or not. I don't know. Maybe that's not the right thing for the country. I don't know.
All right. How about this? Another question coming through here. I'm trying to field these as quickly as I can.
Okay, while you're looking,
scrolling so fast.
Let's see here. While you're doing that, I'm going to grab a couple of questions here.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't realize we had some more there.
Yeah, let me see here. Donovan's asking a really good question. Ex-husband filed a petition for unmarried son. How long for the visa to be available? How can I get him tourist visa while he's waiting for an immigrant visa? So the answer to this question depends on how old your son is. I don't know how old he is. So that's going to be a determining factor if you guys were able to file it. If ex-husband is a U.S. citizen and ex-husband filed this I-130 petition prior to your son turning 21, then he's in a faster category. If he did it after he turned 21, then he's going to be in a slower category. So if you let me know that, then I can look it up, and you can DM me and I'll let you know how long that's going to take. But to answer the second part of your question, can you get a tourist visa while he's waiting for his immigrant visa? Probably not. He's single. He's probably young, and they're probably not going to grant him a tourist visa. He can always try, but he must be 100% clear and truthful on his DS 160 that he does have an immigrant petition pending for him. Guys, that's so important. When you're filling out that visa application, you cannot make a misstatement on that, a misrepresentation. Go in there and say, no, I don't have any family members living in the United States. No one ever filed a petition for me.
Right.
That's dangerous, and it can lead to really terrible things. All right.
Okay, so we have. Do you want to take one more here before
let me see here.
Before we go back to a TikTok question? All right, so Mitchie says, hello, I'll be traveling to the Philippines soon, but I plan to stay there for a very long time. I was a Filipino, but I'm a U.S. citizen now. The consulate is too crowded now. Can I file my dual citizenship in the Philippines?
So this is a Philippines immigration question, and I don't know what the answer is to this question. I'm pretty sure that you can, but I'm not 100% sure that you can do that. Yeah, I guess that's the answer. But you can, and from my understanding of dual citizenship and wanting to get dual citizenship in the Philippines, and the basis of this question, I believe, because my mom is in the Philippines and she's a U.S. citizen and she's also a Filipino citizen, is if you stay in the United States for a really long time as a U.S. citizen, when you leave the U.S., then you have to pay. I guess it's maybe it's a penalty. Let's just call it a penalty for lack of better. I don't know. Penalty sounds like a punitive thing, but maybe that's what it is. You have to pay a lot of money to leave because you have stayed in the Philippines too long. I think that's the basis of this question. I would definitely try to find out. It's really hard to get in touch with the embassies right now, and it's true that probably the consulates are not processing dual citizenship applications like they were pre-COVID. I'm sorry I can't be more helpful, Mitchie. Good luck with that. And let us know. Come back and let us know. But I'm going to just guess and say probably you can. But don't bet all your money on that. All right, no more questions here.
Okay, we have a question here. Been a U.S. citizen for 2 years now. Recently adopted my niece, who is under the age of 18. Can I petition for her?
Okay, so recently adopted the niece?
Yes, adopted. She's still under 18. That's not clear how long.
Gotcha.
How long she's been.
So I did a video about this. Go check that out on TikTok. But one of the requirements for adopting a family member, a niece or nephew, usually, with our clients, it's adopting a family member like a niece or nephew, is you have to adopt the niece or nephew, the child, prior to the age of 16. And then another requirement is you have to have lived with the child for at least 2 years, like physically lived with the child for at least 2 years prior to the age of 21.
And that can be the tough one.
Yeah, that's going to be the tough one, right? And then the last, the other requirement is that you have to have had legal custody of the child for at least 2 years. So if you have the adoption decree for at least 2 years, that satisfies the legal custody portion of it. But the question is, did you adopt the child prior to the age of 16? And there is an exception to that if you adopt a sibling prior to the age of 16, and then the other sibling that you want to adopt is older, that's okay. You can do that, but there is this sibling exception. So that's the answer to the question. If you've met all those requirements, again, the first step is to file the I-130 petition. It's tough to me. Now, the video that I did on adopting a niece or nephew or family member, a lot of people shared it. I just don't think that a lot of people realize the not work, but like the time that goes into trying to meet that residency, that physical living together requirement. The way that our clients satisfy that requirement is they're going back to the Philippines or Mexico or whatever. They're going back every summer, every holiday that they can, and really try to keep track. You have to keep track of that because you're going to need that evidence when you file that I-130 petition with the USCIS. You're going to have to show every single day that you've lived with that child. Legal custody. Now, there's a really interesting part of this legal custody, and the biological parents, like, okay, where do the biological parents are still alive? Well, where are they? If they're taking care of your niece or nephew, this is going to be a non-starter. They're not. They want to know where are the biological parents. Have they passed away? Are they on the streets? What are they doing? Where are they? Why are they not taking care of their child? So if those biological parents are still just taking care of the child, it's probably not going to get approved. So I get that. We get that question a lot. What about the biological parents? They cannot be in that child's life at all. I got a request for evidence for one of these a while back, and the question was, where are the biological parents in relation to where this child lives? And we had to show that they lived far, far away, that they don't ever have contact with the child, that they're too busy with their other children or work, or maybe they're overseas workers. So you got to show that. But great question.
Here's a U.S. citizen living in California petitioned their mom, and it's processing in Texas. How long does it take? If you know.
I do know. I do. Well, I don't know off the top, but it's super easy to find out. So I would recommend, I have a processing time TikTok, and it shows you how to look up processing time. So go to that TikTok and it'll show you how long it's taking. That's my tip for you today. But it's pretty easy to find out. If you can't figure that out, or you can't find my TikTok, just send me a DM.
Yeah. Because
I don't want to do it. I could probably do it right now, like in a second, but check out that TikTok.
Yeah. And I just realized this is my years. For years, I did trial work, and I realized that I have this old habit of following up questions with "if you know," because in trials that happens all the time. You ask a question, if you know, you don't ever want the witness trying to guess at something.
You're trying to help me out. We don't know everything.
I wasn't trying to help you out. I just realized that I have an old habit of saying, if you know, what time of day was it? If you remember.
Guys, if this is a good time for us to have we're talking about, the best time to have our Facebook Live or live stream. If this is a good time for you guys, can you guys give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down? The only problem with a Sunday is sometimes we miss the Sunday because of holidays and holiday weekends and stuff like that. But we want to give you guys as much information, as much value. We our Facebook fam, because we started out on Facebook with our phone, and now we're using a live StreamYard to stream to other different platforms. Again, I just want to thank our Facebook fam for getting us started on Facebook Live. February of, was it
2020?
February 2020. Right. It's unforgettable because the first one was on my birthday.
That's right.
And so it's been it's just been great feeling to be able to provide information to our community, and just we've gotten so much great feedback from it.
Absolutely.
And in the end, I think that we're also helping people. And I can think of several cases that have come through to us via our Facebook Live because of something that we said. And it doesn't mean that they necessarily hired us, but it means that they've reached out to us like, you really helped me with that information. I mean, some people have, come and wanted some additional assistance, but I mean, it just makes us feel good because
Absolutely.
we are providing this information, and it's information that we have, and why not provide it? So thank you guys always for your support on our live streams and our Facebook lives. And
So here's a good question, pretty broad question, but
should I sit back for this one?
No,
I'm always at the end of my edge of my chair. We sit back.
We're about to the end here, but
yes.
Good one. So here's somebody, this is near and dear to your heart. Just became a U.S. citizen a month ago.
Congrats.
Congratulations. And already wants to know, now that I'm a U.S. citizen, can I petition for my siblings?
Yes, you can petition for your siblings now that you are a U.S. citizen. I don't know when you joined, and I don't know what country you're from, but depending on where you're from, the good news is, yes, you can file that petition. The other news, I'm not going to call it bad news because it just is what it is.
The other news
is, didn't you love that? It's the other news. It can take 15 to 22 years depending on what country you're from. So if you're from Mexico, it's a 22-year wait for your sibling to be able to get that immigrant, have that immigrant visa available to them. Philippines is 19, all other countries 15. John and I were just talking to my dad the other day.
Yeah.
And I told this story maybe a couple of weeks ago, but one of his sisters was left behind. And for lack of a better phrase, that's the way that all the siblings who are here call it. Tita Nelly was left behind. And I asked my dad, I was like, Dad, what's up? What happened? And it was kind of like the ball was dropped on who was supposed to file that petition. Like everybody was a U.S. citizen. That was mid 70s when everyone immigrated here. And, if it takes 20 years, that would have brought us to 1994. And she's not here, and filed that petition.
So the moral of this story, of course, is something that a drum we bang every week.
Yeah.
And that is, if you are in a position where you can petition for someone and they're going to be eligible, you should do it. I know it seems like a daunting number. Gosh, 20 years from now, who knows whether they'll even want to come.
Yeah.
If they decide they don't want to come in 20 years, then they don't have to, but go ahead and file it so that you can get the time working for you, because the time's going to pass. You're going to do all the things you're going to do anyway. You may as well have the clock ticking on that so that when the time comes up, if they are still interested, which usually they are.
Yeah.
Okay. Then they'll be ready.
Yeah. I mean, she wants to be here with all her sisters and my dad for sure.
And she's from the Philippines.
And that's,
or he, I'm not sure. I can't tell which it is.
So yeah, for sure. File that. You think, gosh, 19 years, you've got to be kidding me. Well, it could get faster. I mean, it used to be 20. Now Mexico is the longest, but it could get faster. But just file the I-130 petition. There's no harm. The I-130 petition is $535. It's a lot more than, when my dad could have filed it, which was like $70 or $50 to file the I-130 petition. But yeah, file that petition. I know that it seems like a really, really long time from now, but congratulations. I'm happy that you're thinking about your siblings and just getting it filed and getting it done. That's the $1 million immigration tip that we dole out every single week is get your case filed, get in line.
Yep.
Just got to do it.
And while we're giving out the advice we give out every week, I'll also remind everyone, I'm just going to totally go on a side road here for a second. If you're not a U.S. citizen, really be careful with breaking any laws. Okay.
Yeah.
We see that too. People get in so much trouble, little things that don't even seem like a big deal. And then they turn into a real nightmare for immigration purposes. So just be super careful. Marijuana is one that comes to mind. Everybody knows that it's becoming legal all over the place. It is still not legal under federal law. So for immigration purposes, it is still potentially a problem. So just watch what you're doing. Okay.
Watch what you're doing.
Be careful.
Yeah.
How about for a fiance visa? Somebody wants to know, can you file for a fiance visa for your fiance, even if the two of you have never actually physically met? All of your interaction has been virtual.
Never ever met. No, cannot.
All right.
Unless there's an exception. I've never used it before. I think there's a religious exception, but don't quote me on that because I've never even attempted that. But I don't even know if it exists, but I feel like in the back cobwebs of our mind, when we're studying the Immigration and Nationality Act, like we do every single night, I think there could be that exception, but don't quote me on that. Go see your fiance. And take pictures. Take pictures.
Right.
Save receipts.
Can I file citizenship while my ROC is still in progress? I've had my green card for 4 years now.
I don't know what ROC is.
I don't either. That's what I'm trying to. If you can tell us, we're not sure what you're referring to with the ROC. If you could specify what that is, then we can try to help you out.
I owe TikTok a lot of questions. I did a video on Friday. It was like, hey, ask me anything. I'll answer the questions. So many questions came in. I'm still trying to catch up with them. They're great questions, but don't know what that is. I'm not sure what ROC is.
All right.
Return in 4 years. What was the question? Sorry.
Oh, removal of conditions. She just
okay.
I've never
Gotcha.
seen it abbreviated like that. Can I file citizenship while my removal of conditions is still in progress? I've had my green card for 4 years now.
Yes.
The answer is yes.
Should I elaborate or
you
no?
should elaborate?
Should I elaborate? Okay.
Elaborate.
Yes.
Yes.
We have 3 minutes. Can I elaborate for 3 minutes on this? No, this is a really fantastic question. I actually did a video on this. I think we have like a couple hundred videos now, but if you filed your I-751,
she has a 10-year green card, by the way.
She has a 10-year green card.
That's what she says.
What? That doesn't.
10-year green card. Okay.
Now I'm confused. Okay. If you have a 10-year green card, that means that your I-751 has been approved if you had a conditional resident card. The ROC stands for what?
Removal of conditions.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm a little bit confused, but let me just answer a question. I'm not sure if this is. So if you're asking this question, DM me, and maybe we can work through that. But if you have your 2-year green card, okay, your conditional resident, lawful permanent resident card, and you have filed your I-751 to remove the conditions on your 2-year green card, and it has come to the time where you can actually file for U.S. citizenship because they're taking so long to remove the conditions for USCIS to approve and remove the conditions on that petition and that green card. Yes, you can file your U.S. citizenship at 2 years and 9 months from the date of issue on that first green card if you are still married to your U.S. citizen spouse and you have lived with the U.S. citizen spouse for at least 3 years. So yeah, the answer is yes, you can do that. Absolutely. If the person asking this question has a 10-year green card, I'm a little bit confused about it because that means that the conditions were removed. If the conditions were removed, either way, you can file either way. So,
and I want to say hi. My mom and our cousin Malou are both joining us tonight. I see.
And that. My mother-in-law is here visiting.
Yes. So when I say my mom is joining us, just so we're clear, she's joining us on Facebook Live, but she's downstairs. She's just
right. And we don't see her enough, and she's here. Yeah.
They're
very quiet downstairs because every time we start Facebook Live, we yell down the stairs like "quiet on the set."
I think maybe my mom is helping out. She's probably helping to keep them quiet. Yeah, thanks, Mom. Appreciate that. Okay, we're about out of time here. Maybe a couple real quick ones. Someone wants to know, and they've posted this a couple times, and it kept disappearing. Married to a U.S. citizen and has an I-130 that they're waiting to be approved, but the U.S. citizen owes the IRS a lot of money. Is this going to be a problem? So U.S. citizen spouse is in arrears with the IRS.
Gotcha. So we have the I-130 petition filed, and I don't know if this case is is abroad or in the United States, I guess it doesn't really matter. So when you are submitting your affidavit of support, and this is where the question goes to, as a petitioner, you have to submit an affidavit of support, and you have to show that you have made a certain amount of income on your most recent tax return. So the evidence that you provide is your most recent tax return, your W-2, your most recent pay stub. I mean, if you have a payment plan with the IRS, that's just really not something that's going to come up on your tax transcript. I don't believe so. I'm going to say I don't believe so. It should not be a problem. I mean, it's a problem if you are applying. This is I'm not even going to put the issue out there because it's a totally different issue. But no, it should not be a problem, because I'm just thinking about the evidence that's needed in order to have the affidavit of support filed. And those are the three things. So should not be.
All right.
Get on the payment plan though, just in case.
And I'll go ahead and field this question from Malou. When's the next party? Well, our next daughter will graduate in 2024. So 2024 will be the next graduation party.
Yeah. Cousins are trying to come over here on the 4th of July, and that is a no. We just had a party.
Right.
And then number 2, how about Labor Day? Because my mom will be here. So
and congratulations again to our oldest daughter who just graduated from high school.
And her nephew Merrick and all of their friends and other family members. So very exciting.
All right, gang.
That is a wrap.
We're gonna have this for an hour. We're going to call it there. Thank you so much for joining us.
Time for dinner.
If we didn't get to your questions, we apologize. We will, you can try to follow up with us after we're done here. You can join us again next Sunday at 8 o'clock. Get here early and get them submitted early. And that's the best hope of getting them answered. And also, it's better, as we've said, we get to all the questions on Facebook. It's harder to get to all of them on TikTok. So if you come through Facebook, that's a much better way to make sure that we get to your question. Okay, gang?
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. And if you need a little extra help and assistance, feel free to reach out to us. Again, you can send us a direct message through Messenger, through TikTok. You can send us an email at info@gmlaw.net. And also text or call our office, which is 757-464-9224. Did I forget anything?
GardnerandMendoza.com if you're looking for just
our website and you don't want to read all the articles that we wrote.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, everyone. Have a great last few hours of your weekend here. Have a great week. And we will see you here next Sunday at 8 o'clock.
2 thumbs up. Thanks. That was awesome.
As always.
Fantastic.
Thanks for all the questions. We had fun.
I'll in this and you in that.
That's right. Up here too.
Take care, guys.
See ya.
Thanks.